what is that, that legislator? It's kind of a famous quote, but he said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to your facts. The facts are the facts." And so there's a lot of opinions. I thought it might be interesting just for people to know that, we built I-49, or the state, and built I-49 from I-220 on the north side of Shreveport, 34 miles to the Arkansas border. It took about 36 years to do that. And they took a lot of different pockets of money to get it done. Cedric Glover informed us that that the state and the local governments, which that's the local governments tend to look at the state to provide their share, but the state provided about 60% of the cost. The feds only about 40%, which goes against what everybody thinks, that when we started freeways, the federal government paid 90%, the local paid 10. So the cost over those 34 years to build that stretch, 34 miles, $680 million. About 120 million of that went into that kind of rinky-dink looking interchange that took a number of years to build to connect I-220. And so what we're talking about is building 3.5 miles. The cost keeps going up. It's currently 700 million, but the Secretary, Sean Wilson, said by the time it could be funded, it's going to be $1 billion project.
I mean, and John, I mean, we talked a lot about, like, what's one of the things that you think makes people want to stay in a neighborhood?
Well, that's a good question, because in these modern times, I don't think neighborhoods are really that attractive as they were when my grandparents were creating the Highland neighborhood with their neighbors, and you had the small shops. I mean, imagine if you could just walk out your door, go down the street, and grab a sandwich and a beer, down the street, or go get your bike worked on in a bicycle shop. I don't see that as much anymore as I did when I was a kid. And now I think people stay because it's convenient, maybe, to get to work or to get to grandma's house or something. But that's the difference. Allendale, my friends in Allendale are very intentional. They chose to buy a home and to participate in building it, and they chose to live in that community, and it's loosely knitted. It's not terribly organized, but it is organized around community and about the choice to live there. And it's a great location, and with a modern business boulevard nearby, that's the kind of place you could walk to. Like Dorothy says, she'd like to have a bicycle shop with a kitchen in the back where she could make sandwiches and other meals. But there's a perfect business for everybody. When you build a highway, you wind up running off the people that frequent those businesses and the people that go to those churches that were in the path of the highway, and then the neighborhood dies. But to me, I always say that I've learned enough now to want to live in a really walkable place. Some describe it as moving back to a college campus style lifestyle where you can walk everywhere you need to go during the day. You can go catch a movie, you can go get a meal, you can hang out with your friends because they all live very close by. And it's described as something like what's great about living on a college campus. And I do say sometimes I'd love to retire and live somewhere, it probably will be Shreveport where you can,
I mean,
because
go ahead.
I've nearly died already once this year, so I know my time is getting limited, and I don't want to run out of the chance to live like that for just a year in my life. But I don't know what made you pick where you live, Roosevelt.
I mean, I have to say that my neighborhood, I actually picked it. Being Henderson real, my wife kind of picked it, right?
Yeah,
And
and you want to live where your wife lives.
oh yeah,
So problem solved, right?
but it was a great decision. I didn't want to live so far outside of the city. Like I tell people, we stay in the boonies. I always wanted to stay. I moved I was staying in Marietta when I met my wife, and anybody know about the Atlanta area, Marietta is north, and I wanted to stay north. I wanted to stay north of Atlanta, because really the south side of Atlanta is not the most desirable spot, right? And then we're staying outside, anybody know about Atlanta, we stay outside the perimeter, outside 285. And we stay in the boonies. But one thing, and this goes back to what Kim said, I love my neighbors. My neighbors my neighbor took my trash out when I was on vacation, and I ain't even asked him. He was like, man, I haven't seen you in a while. I'm gonna take your trash out. He walked in front of my ring and waved, hey, I'm gonna get in your trash. I love my neighbors. I love them. I love them. The Harrises. I love y'all. The Thorntons. I love y'all. I love my neighbors. So, but I want to stay in the city. I do. I want to stay in the city. I'm a city guy. I always stay in the city. I grew up in Allendale, Lakeside, Queensboro. I'm used to staying in the city. So staying in the boonies is kind of hard for me, right? But we see the what Allendale has to offer. Everybody sees talking to anybody can go back and listen to the Jerry Camara interview, and we talk about what Allendale has. The location of Allendale. I remember growing up watching the 4th of July fireworks in our home from my grandmother's house, right? Overlooking Spokeo Park. And you can kind of see the buildings of downtown kind of right there. We used to sit right there in the church parking lot and right there and just watch the fireworks. We didn't go downtown.
I can see it now, Roosevelt. I do too. I can go in my backyard if I want. I can sit on my car, or sometime a few of us on the street, we could sit right out the front and see the tall buildings downtown, see the fireworks going up. And, that's what I'm saying. This is a prime area. It is. It's a prime area because, number one, they're getting ready to, they're building downtown up again. And the thing about it is, when I first came here, so I lived in Portland, Oregon for a while, and I seen gentrification, how it came in. So that's always in my head what I see around here. When I came and I said, oh, they got a convention center right here. And in my mind, this is what I said. I said, they didn't build that for us. And then next door was the nice hotel. I saw, and they got a hotel right next door to the convention center. I said, this is what's getting ready to happen. Kim, and I always mention this, but it was just like, I almost felt like I couldn't talk about it because I guess people weren't ready to hear that. But like I say, living it and seeing it and how it happened, it was just like, okay, gentrification is going to set in. Even in Portland, when they built that freeway and it stopped, just like I-20 at where I-20 and I-49 meet. It stopped right there. And my mom lived in the prime area. They offered them, I think it was like $620,000 for their home. Okay. They wanted that. But as I moved away and started going back to Portland, I seen gentrification set in. I always say this, I was standing at my mom's window and I see this white lady walking her dog with her pooper scooper. I said, now, you know, Black people not finna walk with a pooper scooper and pick up behind a dog. They just poop in somebody's yard and keep going. I'm just telling the truth, okay? And when I seen that, I'm just like, where does she live? All of a sudden, I seen them, they took a piece of land. I mean, they build straight up in Portland. If they can find a space, they're gonna build in it. And all of a sudden, gentrification just starts setting in. Well, the older people were dying out. The family, children, grown children had the home. They were being offered money. They took the money, and before you know it, it came in just like that. Now, this is what they're fighting. They're trying to get back in their community, the Blacks. But what they're doing is pacifying them by building these high-rise apartments and allowing a percentage of Blacks or mixed income, if they're mixed income, to go in there, you know, to say that they're in their community. But I mean, we see it happen. It's happening. Get ready for it. I'm just saying, this is a part of life, gentrification. So just like, you know, we're seeing other things happening, it's already written out, it's going to happen, you know. And even if gentrification come in, for me, I don't want the people over here to sell out or sell their homes or try to come back in and and rent, or home ownership would be so expensive, you won't be able to get back into this community. So, I do say, I'm like, look, like everywhere, why we always got to move? Why we always got to get up and go somewhere?
Well,
Dorothy, we don't. You don't.
And we don't.
yeah, we
I
don't.
think that's back to our learning and doing community, is that you just describe what happens. That's kind of a pattern. As I said earlier, it's all about big money and big development. And can we get ahead of that through a learning doing community? We've talked about land trust, and there's a number of strategies. We talk about the incremental building alliance to try to bring people to, we don't have to do that intensity of development to create a good place. But it's going to require learning and doing. If you want to let somebody do it for you, then it's going to be gentrified.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if you want to do it yourself, then we are creating a path to do that. I was just thinking that Winston Churchill had an expression that you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after they have exhausted all other possibilities. And so we've been doing that. And another thing that gives me a little hope is, a lot of think tanks, liberal and conservative, and the Brookings Institute, while we're in the middle of change in our country and what Allendale Strong is about, they framed what the challenge is. John was talking about wanting to live in a walkable place, and they said, we have for the last 70 years been designing cities to drive more, making everyone car dependent as a way to make economic prosperity. We need to change that. We need to reform, redesign, reinvest our cities to drive less. And so that really is a good challenge for the future. And if you're entrepreneurial, you're going to say, okay, I can get behind that. We can create prosperity and opportunity in getting from where we are now to that new destination of cities that drive less. Chuck Marone has always given us new ideas when, like all the parking lots we built over the last 70 years. We need to take some of those out and fill back in a way that we are closer together. And there's a challenge. I wonder about some of the discussions now. Are we going to end up with racially concentrated or racially divided city where we have black enclaves and white enclaves, or are we going to mix things up? Are we going to come together in a way where we can live together? I think that's a conversation that we have actually started that conversation in an Allendale Strong meeting, just trying to find out, do the people living in Allendale, are you ready for mixed income, mixed race? And there's a guy in Atlanta, Roosevelt, Robert Lupton. He's written a couple of books called, one is, let's see, what is it? Anyway, they're good books, but he coined a term, gentrification with justice. And that maybe is a way to think about it. You got to bring more wealth into a neighborhood as people are, taking and growing into opportunity, but can it be done in a way that it's just? And, that's something for us to talk about as a community, and then to experiment and try to do it. But let's be conscious of the problems. I even got a sense that some of the rioting in Portland this past year was going after some of the residents who are considered to be gentrifiers, trying to say, get out of that house. That was my house, or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, I want to touch on one of the things you said earlier, and then come back to something else. But I want to touch on, you're right. We have to, this is one of the things that I wish that we can go to the African American Chamber of Commerce and talk to them about. And that is building the next generation of African American and brown minority homeowners. Because what that does is that builds a customer base for the entrepreneurs in this city. If we can build the homeowner base in Allendale, Lakeside, Queensboro, Ledbetter Heights, and in Cedar Grove, then what you're doing, you're building a more responsible customer. And they're going to come out and they're going to frequent your stores, and they're going to frequent your services. All right. And that's how, you're right. Community and homeowners is how you build back, you revitalize Allendale, right? Those two things, community and home ownership. And then I want to, jump into, you kind of went toward it, was just building a city that you don't have to drive. Me and my wife always talk about it, and I think I talk about it a lot now because I'm working with you guys, right? But I was talking to her about how she loved going to Las Vegas, and we didn't have to get a rental car. We went to Rome, didn't have to get a rental car, right? We went to Orlando, didn't have to get a rental car, all right? We just didn't have to get a rental car. We Ubered to the hotel. That was it. It was like, we walking for now on, baby. All right. And that is what I think Shreveport is missing out on.
Yeah.
Is Shreveport can get the tourists that don't have to get a rental car when they get here. They can take an Uber to the downtown, to the casino, and just walk around. Hit the restaurants, hit this, hit that, do this, do that, right? That's how they should be marketed. They should be I always say that North Market should be the new Uri Drive, right?
Well, let's hope it'll be better than Uri Drive. Uri Drive is what is called in Chuck Marone or Strongtown language is a strode, which is it's neither a road nor a street.
Oh,
but
okay.
No.
Yeah.
and so it's the most dangerous road that you can have is a strode, since it doesn't work as a road like a highway to get from point A to point B, and then a street is where there's economic vibrancy of uh, preference for pedestrians, even though you mix it up. And so when we talk about a business boulevard, we're talking about a street. We're
Yes.
not talking about a strode. And
Mhm.
the term complete street creeps in there, but it's really one more of vibrancy and activity. And and that could happen for North Market. Uh, it's an I love this conversation about
Stop.
city
I'm sorry.
need because it's one of imagination and design. And we're not coalescing in Shreveport to do that. And there's a lot of good intentions. And a friend of mine would remind me that the highway to hell is paved with good intentions. So we want to get to intentional good, and that requires us to come together, collaborate more, and to prioritize design and quality. And that if we do that, then we're creating or doing what I call being plan driven, which means our plan and our vision is investable. But it's only investable if our leaders are committed to the plan. And right now, they're not committed to a plan. That was one of the critiques from the Urban Land Institute that came here. It says, boy, y'all got lots of good plans. Why haven't you implemented any of them? And so there's a challenge we have. Our leaders don't know how to actually execute a plan, how to work it. They have the good intentions of show me the money, and whoever shows up with money pretty much gets to do whatever they want to do, which is that's the good intentions that are the highway to hell, because you're not building value. You're just saying what is that? It's kind of a chameleon like that you're going to try to make yourself appeal to big money. And then so you'll do anything to get money, just kind of like the Amazon deal. Oh, Amazon is our savior. Well, nobody's done the homework to figure out, all right, get ready. We've put at least $10 million into incentives to get them here. And all the research says that our overall jobs in the parish are going to decline as a result of having Amazon's fulfillment center here. And we're celebrating, patting each other on the back. But we're making ourselves what we need to do to buy businesses, thinking that that's creating more jobs. Well, how long have we been doing that? Shreveport has lost thousands of jobs since 2007, and we've lost thousands in population. Somehow that strategy for economic development needs readjusting, needs better imagination.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because every time I hear somebody talk about the Amazon thing, they talking about, well, now we really need to build it because we need to put an exit right there for Amazon. Hold on, did you understand they right next to an exit? They built it right
Yes.
next to an exit. What? Like you want to? How close do you want it? Do you want to build it where the exit goes into the actual plant? Because I actually, John, you probably seen it. I took a screenshot of where they build a new Amazon plant and the exit, and I did like a little squiggly line to show the path and how it's only 1,000 feet away from the actual exit. When you hit North Market, you're
Right.
1,000 feet from that exit. I know. I stayed off of North Market. My father and my people stayed off of North Market. I know that place. I actually know the area where they're building that, because we used to go back there without bikes when I stayed off of North Market. I know that area well. They're so close to an exit. To build a better exit, we would have to build I-49 to go right over the building and have the exit go right into their parking lot. That's how close we had to get it.
Yeah.
Ain't get it any closer, buddy. So they didn't build it for us to build I-49. They built it because they knew we're going to put it in the most advantageous place. We built it right here. They bought it from, I forgot the land, the guy that owned the land. He also owns the land that buttresses it up to behind Ingersoll and up to 12 Mile Bayou. He owns that land too also. Forgot the guy's name, but anybody can see it in the tax records. But yeah, it boggles the mind. And I'm gonna throw this out there, and I know we're coming up on almost 2 hours, y'all. But I'm gonna throw this out there. I've always wondered this: why does Shreveport always talk about bringing people back? No. All right. I know people that have moved and left Atlanta. I know people that have moved and left New York City, LA, Portland. Looking at one, right? Looking at all these people that have left these cities. People leave cities. The key is to bring people into the city that have never stayed here. All right. And the reason that is, I'm perfect for that. People that move into the city from somewhere else, they have the experience of staying somewhere else that may or may not have what Shreveport has, or give them a different experience that Shreveport gives them. And they love Shreveport. They love it. I mean, they like, I always say, if you want to talk to somebody that has never done anything in Atlanta, talk to an Atlanta native. They don't go to the museums. They don't go to the botanical garden. They don't go to all these different places, right? The people that go there are the people that move from somewhere else. The people that move from South Carolina, Baltimore, Chicago. Those are the ones that go to all these Atlanta places. The Atlanta natives, they stay home because they like, it's too many people down there. I went to a Coca-Cola Center when it was in the underground. I ain't got to go now. Just because they moved don't mean it's something new. No, that's not who does it. So I'm not saying that you want to kick the natives out. What happens is when you bring new people in, the natives start talking to them and they start saying, oh, Shreveport is nice. Oh, Shreveport does have this. Oh yeah, the food is great there. Oh, they do have the best donuts, right? So it's kind of what I like to say, the new person in school. When you see a bunch of new people come to your school, all of a sudden you feel like, oh, we must be the new it school here, right? And I think that's how Shreveport has to grow. Stop trying to bring people back to Shreveport. Start encouraging people to move to Shreveport. All right. Start encouraging the people that's what they call them, digital nomads, to move to Shreveport. The people that can work from home from anywhere now. Those are the people you need to start looking at and saying, hey, do y'all want to move here? Yeah, I think we have great internet in certain spots. Right? And how do you guys feel about that? Do you think that it is a good idea to try to attract people from other places instead of trying to bring back people from Shreveport?
Certainly it is. But think about this, because this is another, if you want to call it a theme or a direction, and it really started with John's framing this for us. But Shreveport is only as strong as its weakest neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so the challenge in bringing people back is making Shreveport desirable. I always enjoy people who show up from somewhere else and they see those positive things in Shreveport that a lot of us don't focus on because we are in the trenches trying to deal with some of the challenges. But still, the issue is, if that's the case, you want to bring people back, you've got to focus on what's going to make our city attractive. We need to invest in that, not the marketing campaign. The word of mouth is actually better than paying the big bucks to the marketing firms like the that 49 promoters are doing, but let's invest in Shreveport. Let's invest in the people of Shreveport and in those neighborhoods that would be considered the weak links. How do we do that? That once again brings us back to the learning doing communities, because we got to bring together the diversity of our city to learn together of these problems and experiment with solutions. So
How y'all feel about that, John, Dorothy?
Well, I would say this. That's just like if I go to another city. I don't really know all the ins and outs or what the problems are because I'm new there. So even as I'm like Kim, if you're going to bring new people into your city, then we need to show them something great about our city. They might see something that we don't see because our focus has been more so. Okay, for me, I'll just say my focus has been on this freeway. So sometime I might not see what someone else might see it coming into our city. But as far as bringing the old people back that used to live here, they're not going to come back because even when they do come back, they say nothing in Shreveport.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they say. There's nothing in Shreveport because they know what they left. And even when I left here, I didn't want to come back to Shreveport. This was my husband's idea. We came to Shreveport, and then because I didn't want to turn around the next day or the next week and go back to New Orleans, we just decided to stay here. But when I left here, the slogan was Shreveport, a city on the grow. I haven't seen any growth here, for real. I mean, all I've seen is dilapidation. Every plant or whatever they bring here, it comes for a while and it leaves. And that's the same thing I'm thinking about this Amazon. How long is Amazon going to be here? So yeah, I could see bringing new people here, but those people who have lived here once, if they want to come back, then they're coming back, maybe because of family or for whatever reason. But when a new person comes, they're not going to be looking at what we're focused on. They're going to be out exploring something else other than what we are focused on.
Mm-hmm. How about you, John? And this is probably our last topic.
Well, I've read a lot. I've visited a few cities. I read that Tulsa has become a hub for digital nomads. And part of why they've been able to do that is they built a city that was attractive to people, that, they built for a younger crowd. Like, we're somewhat aging here in Shreveport. Portland, one of the first things I ever learned when I got involved 6 or 7 years ago, they talked about how Portland, that show Portlandia, used to refer to Portland, Oregon as a retirement community for college students, a place where people graduate from college and then go there and don't really do anything. But it was because they had said, you know what, instead of developing for developers, instead of creating a place where developers would like to come invest and build something big, what if we just built a city that we really liked? And they started doing things in around 95 when new urbanism was starting to happen. They said, let's start changing the way we see ourselves as a city. Younger, hipper. They planted vegetable gardens on the lawn at City Hall, and all these things that would still seem pretty edgy here if we had vegetables growing in the in the planters at City Hall. But they basically did what I think Chuck Marone suggests, is find out what the people that live here would like to have and give them that, instead of telling them, hey, we think you'd like to have a really big stadium with a G League basketball team in it, which used to be the D League, but then they changed it to the G League. But it was still, nobody really wanted that. And we all complained and said, no, thank you, please. We don't want to take on a giant debt to have a stadium for the Benson family. But we might take on a debt to have a really nice community garden and to be able to mow our parks and those sorts of things. Maybe if we got too many parks, maybe one should be an orchard. But it was that sort of change that made Portland a place where people said, I think I'd rather go live in Portland after I graduate college and just get a job, in a brew pub or whatever, because I'll be educated around other educated people, and I'll have a really fun place to live and a fun job. And then Portland started to really bubble with an economic miracle. And at that point, apparently the headhunters for the corporations that were looking for people to come live in Silicon Valley and start coding and that sort of thing said, hey, we can't lure these young educated people out of Portland, Oregon. They won't leave. And so the company started saying, maybe we should move to Portland. And that seems like a healthier way, to try to say we have an educated populace, and it's a real happy populace that likes each other. And we don't present that when we recruit companies here. From what I've heard from people realtors, they tend to take a look around, especially Japanese folks, and they see the slovenly way that neighborhoods are kept and the streets and drainage, or there's always something overflowing or a lot of bumps. And I say, well, you guys don't really like each other. You don't take care of your neighborhoods. You don't clean up after yourselves, and you don't fix the potholes. So I wish we could create a city that looked like we really like each other and really want to be here together. And then my kids, instead of moving, one of my older son just moved to Denver, just wants to be in a more modern Western city, and there's plenty of jobs, and he's out there. He already has one, and he's looking to reestablish himself in Denver, and he is basically established there now. So I wish we had the place that young people wanted to move to, and I don't think that's as simple as a Dave and Buster's, as the joke goes here. I think we have to really say, what is it that these young people, why are they moving to Denver and these other cities? They're larger cities. They offer a lot more choices, and they are places where people want to live. I don't think we're a place really, unless you love it here because all your family's here, all your stuff's here, your property or whatever. I don't know that we're attracting people here.
Yeah, I mean it's I stay in the city where everybody's moving to.
Right.
And one of the things that I tell people that I love about staying here is not that it's always something to do, right? And some people like that about Atlanta. It really is always something to do, right? But what got Atlanta to that point? What got Atlanta to the point to where the founders of Home Depot said, oh, we want to do it here. The founders of Delta moved from Monroe, Louisiana to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
What made Porsche, well, we ain't even talk about Porsche, right? They moved here to sell stuff. But what is making people move here? And it goes all the way back. What I like to tell people, it doesn't start at the Olympics. It starts really when in the 70s, when they finally got their first Black mayor, when they saved the Fox Theater, when they improved on the airport, when they started to build the neighborhoods when they really started talking about being good neighbors, right? One of Little Vietnam, East Lake Apartments. I forgot the guy's name. There's a documentary about it, but they pretty much knocked down the East Lake Apartments, and he went through and he helped them get homes around the area, right? And that right there was really what made people want to stay in Atlanta. That was slowly but surely you started seeing people move to Atlanta from other places. And it's that, like you said about Portland, they're building a city that people want to stay. If the city actually went around and fixed all of the streets, all of the sidewalks, then that right there would be a start.
Yeah, you'd say, wow, what a nice place. This feels nice to drive. I'm not shaking my car to pieces and the parts aren't flying off. But yeah, it's about it seems to be like in Tulsa, people can live anywhere, so they think, well, I like that. It's a nice centrally located place in the country, and it's inexpensive if you work from home on your computer. So you're a digital nomad, and you can work all day in your home and then come out. And apparently, I haven't been there yet, but it's a really neat city. It's just the parks and everything are lovely. The parks here aren't lovely because we've gotten ourselves into a situation where we can only afford one crew to mow all of the city parks and city grass. And so everything always looks like it was mowed a month or two ago. And those sorts of things, I just don't know that Shreveport gets it. That's the sort of thing when somebody comes to town, they're like, oh, this is
just do the regular stuff. Fix the streets, fix the sidewalks, cut the grass. Man, that's a heck of a start right there. But this is going to be a heck of an ending right here because we're up on 2 hours, y'all. And I love talking to y'all. I could probably talk to y'all for another 2 hours, but I know we have other things to do, right?
Well, I need some milk and cookies first. I'm getting hungry. But
all right. So we're going to cut it off right here. This, I am so, like I said, when we started, I could talk to y'all all day. So, but we're going to cut it off here. And I'm going to thank you guys for coming out. I'm going to thank Kim Mitchell for checking us out today. Go ahead.
Glad to be here.
All right. And I'm going to thank Mr. John Perkins for checking us out today. Glad
to be anywhere after that accident I was in. I'm so glad to be here.
And I'm also thank the beautiful Miss Dorothy Wiley for checking us out today.
Thank you for having us. I enjoy when we get together as well, Roosevelt, but it's been good.
It's been good. I know. And I wanted to thank everybody that is listening to our podcast on whatever Apple, Sirius XM, all the other places you can check podcasts. Check us out here at Allendale Strong. The people at YouTube, thank you for checking us out. Also, and we have a new website, everybody. Yes, we have a new website. It is AllendaleStrong.org. Please go to AllendaleStrong.org. The link is going to be at the bottom on YouTube. The link is going to be on Buzzsprout. All right, so check us out at AllendaleStrong.org. You want to say something, John?
Yeah, and at that website, go ahead and chip in if you can, $5 or $10. We have a place where you can hit a button and make a slight donation to help us defray our expenses as we go into all this. And so, thanks for having me, Roosevelt. This has been really cool.
All
2
right.
hours. Cool.
I know, right? I know. So thank everybody for listening. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Please check out our new website. Please subscribe to us on wherever you listen to podcasts. And once again, check us out at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the other social media places that you like to hang out at. Check us out. And we love you. We love Shreveport. That's why we do this. And, we love Allendale, right? So come and support us and come and tell us how you feel. But most of all, have a great and lovely day. Thank you, everybody, and good day. Goodbye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.